welcome back to CVM Live. It's now time for the major stories in detail. Scores of angry residents in St. Mary blocked sections of the Charlestown Main Road where an upcoming entertainer and resident was fatally shot by the police following a dispute over a knife. Nika Lewis has the story.
Charlestown St. Mary erupted on Thursday with emotions. 29-year-old Ramando Brown, otherwise called Double G, was at a party commemorating the birth date of his late friend Kristen Pearson, otherwise called Instaboss, around 11 p.m. Wednesday when he met his demise.
The police was responding to an assignment in the area. When on reaching this very vicinity in Charlestown, he saw a man brandishing a knife in his hand. He stopped to talk with the man. During the conversation, an argument developed. It was reported to me, based on the argument with the knife, that the man was shot by the police. The citizens of the area, in fact the people there, are disputing this story.
His death has provoked the people who remember all too well how Pearson was fatally shot by the police under similar circumstances in April.
And I'm so cross, and this is not fair. Police is just killing off the youths. We can't trust police anymore. The one that killed my son is away in the state. How they allow him to come out of the country?
Police officer just drive down and the youth tell him say he need a search, yeah? Then the youth says just a knife him up. So him say on the knife, the youth say no, knife for the whole kitchen knife. Protection. So the policeman pull out of the car at the same time. And say give me a search. So the youth, he search the youth, find the knife. I want to take the knife from the youth. So the youth I say no, I'm not get the knife. Same time pop off him gun. I will ball out and I say no, you can't shoot the youth. And him shoot the youth, jumping at the car.
But what of the situation that the police were reportedly responding to? Residents say the robbery was never attended to as the police sped away, leaving the body in the streets until about 3 a.m. They also denied any police-civilian confrontation.
But they're on the spot and see it, so I know why him kill him. Him kill him because the police are hype off for the youth. You understand? The police don't worry youth with nothing major. Youth have him knife on him, say give him a knife and the youth give him the knife. You understand? And then give back the youth the knife and then shoot the youth. You understand? So the police have him stressed to walk with.
The police are, however, urging residents to file their reports to Indicom as the investigations continue. Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
And we have a CVM Live follow-up. The organizer of this week's protest in St. Thomas says residents will be putting strategies in place to address the issues in the parish. We hear more on the story from our reporter, Ron Daly.
And if it means going to jail for you again, St. Thomas, I will do that as long as it is for the justice and the upliftment and the enlightenment of beautiful St. Thomas.
These are the declarations of St. Thomas protest organizer Omar Ryan, who spoke to CVM Live on Wednesday. He said the motivation of the protests stems from the citizens' inability to stand the poor road conditions anymore. Mr. Ryan said that the highway from Harborview to Port Antonio, promised by government, is not enough.
We in St. Thomas, we are not just content with that. We want our entire road network in St. Thomas to be fixed. The entire road network that links every community to Morant Bay, to Kingston. We want St. Thomas to be up there on the map. We don't want to be the poorest.
He says the road will lead to the further development of St. Thomas and spoke about the lack of economic activity in the parish.
It's not just the roads, but the roads are the main cause because we think that if we get good roads in St. Thomas, that will lead to other development. We have no industrial activity taking place in St. Thomas. Our agricultural sources, the Belvedere, the banana farms, the Goodyear, all the factories that were in Yallas, everything is down.
He insists that he did not intend for the protest to go the way it did.
It was a peaceful protest that I asked for, where public passenger vehicles should desist from driving and persons who work will not go to work, and some persons in their various communities across St. Thomas, because it's not one constituency, but in the two constituencies.
Mr. Ryan said residents of St. Thomas will be putting strategies in place to address the issues in the parish. Rohan Daly, CVM Live.
At least 3 men have been fatally shot in alleged confrontations with the police in St. James. Police say they seized 2 firearms and a quantity of ammunition after a fatal confrontation in the Salt Spring community this morning.
3 males were reportedly shot and killed by the police, and 2 guns are seized in the Salt Spring area of St. James Thursday morning, shortly after 6, in another controversial episode.
The police carried out an operation in the Salt Spring area. What would have happened is that in recent times we would have had issues with gangsters, and based on what we would have gathered, we carried out an operation. When the police came here, the police were confronted with gunfire. It was returned. Unfortunately, 3 men were shot and injured. They were taken to the hospital. They are deceased. The police would have seized 2 firearms.
Police reports are that 1 Ruger .40 pistol with magazine containing 8 rounds and 1 Bersa .22 pistol with magazine containing 5 rounds were seized. Dead are Omar Sawyers, otherwise called a monk, Christopher Thorpe, and O'Neill Robinson. Residents called them innocent men.
We're tired for hear about South Spring and Garrison. We have good, innocent, decent pitney them. A 3 decent, a 2 6 last night, then they just a dig foundation. 2 6 last night. And then going then upon the up-road more than an hour they walk up and down, then they go over there go shoot up in youth, then for war. And then little more we go hear upon news and they find gun and we shoot out and all of that. No man, the police have need to do better. We need justice. 2 of them in their 30s and 1 in their 40s. A big man them, so I don't know why police come and kill them so innocent in their house, in their bed. Yeah. Up about an hour they beat them, but 1 hour they beat him and them up there. And me I say, what they happen upstairs? But 1 hour they beat them and they question them. And when me hear among us say, Sarge. And then after that, me when I police I call one of them named Mackie, I say, Mackie come round us, Mackie come round us. I mean, you're nothing after that more than a gunshot, the man.
Meanwhile, on Wednesday, another man died of gunshot wounds at hospital. He has only been identified as Ted Roy from an Upper King Street address in Montego Bay. He was reportedly shot along King Street. The St. James police deny any knowledge as to the circumstances leading to Ted Roy's death. Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
Lobby group National Integrity Action NIA has been reaching out to young people in Western parishes with the message that their generation can make a difference in the fight against corruption. NIA has been using the avenue of town hall meetings in the Western parishes. CVM's Joel Croskill reports.
A clarion call for the nation's youth to become more active in the promotion of integrity was the purpose of the first in a series of town hall meetings hosted by National Integrity Action NIA.
Why is it that you are shying away from these roles and responsibilities as youth leaders? I ask you, how many persons are involved in any clubs or societies, community-based organization? No one put up their hand. When you go into the communities, you know who are the presidents of the youth clubs? 50-year-olds and right. And it should be a what? Youth club. Not saying that older persons should not be active, you know. But the thing is, the youth population is not taking that on, they're not taking up the responsibility.
Dr. Patrice Charles, Deputy Executive Director of NIA, explained that the youth were being targeted with a message of Youth for Integrity, combating corruption, based on the findings of a Contractor General report.
Less than half of the youth interviewed in that OCG survey believed that they lived in a society where the truth was valuable. Does everybody get that? They believed truth was valuable. However, 35% thought that persons who lied and stole were more likely to succeed in life than those who did not. And this, young adults, is our problem. It is this perception that has contributed to the growth of corruption in Jamaica. The belief that the only way to achieve success is through corrupt means.
Dr. Charles urged the participants to become the change they wish to see in the society. Joel Croskill, CVM Live.
Local farmers are harboring false hopes of benefiting legally from the cannabis industry. That's the word from South Trelawney Member of Parliament Marissa Dalrymple Filbert, who cited challenges with the banks freeing up cash for locals to invest in the marijuana business. The
reality is that people in various areas in rural Jamaica who are doing it have a roadblock because you are going into your local banks that you deal with and there is a handicap. They are not sure whether they should accept the money, and attorneys are dealing with it. Everybody wants to be above board, and I really think that I don't know if it's a cart before the horse or how it is, but I really believe that that is an area that needs, because you know there's such a thing as false hope, and you live and you think it's going to happen, and you keep moving on, and it cannot happen because we cannot put money under our mattresses to deal with business now.
The rural area MP and attorney says the prospects look dim given the hindrances being faced to source finances through local banks. The MP was speaking at yesterday's sitting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, at which representatives from the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries appeared. Generating interest as well as electricity, the BMR Jamaica Wind Limited facility in St. Elizabeth had a special guest recently as Prime Minister Andrew Holness toured the facility and spoke about Jamaica's energy profile. We will have that story shortly for you, coming up later on in CVM Live. And the Met Service has issued a flash flood watch for low-lying and flood-prone areas of Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Mary until 5 a.m. Satellite imagery and radar reports indicate that light to moderate showers and thunderstorms have been affecting sections of most parishes, but particularly eastern parishes since this afternoon. The forecast is for showers and thunderstorms to continue tonight into Friday morning, mainly across sections of eastern and central parishes. Flash flooding is therefore possible over some low-lying and flood-prone areas of eastern parishes. And the San Mira Foundation continues to spread its charitable influence with the latest donation of funds to sponsor 22 students to sit the CXC exams. CVM Live's Joel Croskill has that report.
The San Myrna Foundation continues its charitable outreach to the children of Jamaica, with the latest in a series of donations towards the education of the nation's youth.
We'll be paying for 22 students CXC fee for preparing them for the future. These 22 students is students that did well with their grades and students that would love to take their CXC, that they can have their documents to help them in the future, and we decide to step in and help you guys. But I want you to utilize this opportunity. I want you to make the best of this chance, because it will not come again.
Members of the Haile Selassie School who benefited from the scholarships offered their thanks for the consideration of the San Myrna Foundation.
This serves to officially recognize and express appreciation for the presentation from the San Myrna Foundation to 22 of our students towards the payment of their CXC's fees. The gesture is timely and will alleviate a great need. Your presentation is a critical component of the kind of partnership which will guarantee the best results for students' attainment and progression in the education system.
Wayne Allen, a parent, expressed his appreciation for the gesture by the foundation and its principals Robert and Mark White.
CXC is a very important exam, and all you that gonna sit it, it's a step forward in life that you're going to need. And in this time, education is the most important thing young people need. So you got to do your utmost best, all of you, and show them Mr. Robert and Mark White that you done what you have done. Give him the best that he asked for.
Joel Croskill, CVM Live.
An upcoming Edu-Technical Vocational Education and Training TVET conference will allow for dialogue among stakeholders in the education sector on areas that support the building of the economy. Chief Education Officer Dr. Grace McLean spoke on the matter at the Jamaica Committee for Tertiary Education press luncheon this week.
The conference will therefore, once again, allow stakeholders in the education sector to share information on new policy directions and programs in the area of technical and vocational education.
She also said the policymakers and administrative leaders have to adapt to the changing needs of the world to ensure that programs that are being offered are relevant. Dr. McLean also expressed the Education Ministry's commitment to the creation of policy that will lead to the development of a trained workforce. The Edu-TVET conference will take place from November 30 to December 1 under the theme Building Educational Partnerships. Motorcyclists traversing the nation's roads are being urged to wear their helmets and other protective devices to protect against major injuries and possible fatalities in the event of a crash. The call comes as motorcyclists account for 31% of road users killed in motor vehicle crashes since the start of the year. Statistics from the Road Safety Unit also reveal that 85 motorcyclists have died in traffic crashes. In 2016, the unit recorded a total of 75 motorcyclist deaths when compared to similar period this year. Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth recorded the highest number of motorcyclist deaths in 2016. The unit is urging motorcyclists to wear the approved helmets to prevent injury and or death. And since the start of the year, 277 persons have been killed from 255 fatal crashes. And we continue our probe series. Tonight we take a closer look at some of the issues plaguing law-abiding Jamaicans from various angles and hear why even with a climbing crime rate, there is still hope. Here's Nika Lewis probing the law-abiding citizen.
Much has changed in Jamaica, but not all for the better. From littering to road rage and crime and violence, the experts blame the widening income gap between the rich and the poor, among other social issues, for what one described as a crisis.
The disparity in Jamaica is marked, and I mean this has been cited by local researchers and regional, international consultants and so on, that the disparity in income between the wealthy and people who are poor is wide, and that contributes, of course, to significant relative poverty in the society. And no doubt, this is one of the factors that contributes to the crime and violence that we see in the society.
According to the professor of psychiatry and community health, the degradation of sorts seen in Jamaica is at all levels, as he reflected that things were not always like this.
At the heart of this sort of behavior is about people not having respect for each other, you know. So there's this component of what it is to be a good citizen, and I think we have lost that as Jamaica, the notion of what it is and who it is to be a good citizen. And being a good citizen also entails that you have respect for each other and each other's rights. We've lost that.
Another critical area of concern is law enforcement, which he cited has fallen to the point where road users can ignore hundreds of traffic tickets until an amnesty is had, or ignore the road code or litter at will.
We have to take a zero tolerance approach to people violating the laws, right? I think too often in many spheres of life, people get away. You see it on the street, the mayhem and chaos that is created by persons driving, especially those who drive public transportation. But I mean, let's face it, it's not only the taxi drivers who are at fault.
Join us tomorrow as we take a final look at those in position of enforcing the law and issues that seek to tempt them. For CVM Probes, I'm Nika Lewis.
And those were our major stories for this evening. But more news is coming your way later on in News Live in 5. And straight ahead, our panel discussion, gauging the performance of the Andrew Holness-led administration. Are we better off as we close into the end of their second year? Our panelists will react. And that's straight ahead. But first, this break.